In this video, we're going to look at square root functions, what the graph looks like, what the equation looks like, and how those go together, as well as just real briefly the domain and range. Now, we are going to include some transformations for this function, but we're only going to do translations and reflections here. We're not going to do dilations. Okay, so we're just going to do shifts, right, left, up, and down, and flipping or reflecting, but we're not going to do any stretches or shrinks. So our square root function, the parent function, is this y equals square root of x. So we're going to look at the basic parent function and a table here and how that gives us our graph. So if we plug in some values in for x to see what our y value gets, well, we can't plug in anything that's negative for x because we can't take square root of a negative number without getting an imaginary number, and we can't graph that. So that's why our graph doesn't go to the left from x equals 0. So at x equals 0, y is also 0, so we're starting at the origin here. And then the next point with integers is 1, 1. And then the next one, we kind of have to skip over to x equals 4, and that goes up to y equals 2. So we're going to kind of skip some x values here. And these are the three main points that I'm going to be graphing with my square root function. And that's going to give me my general direction and the location of where my graph starts. So our domain and our range are both going to go towards infinity or negative infinity, depending on which way it's pointing. But it's always going to start at a specific value. So I've got interval notation here. In this case, domain starts at x equals 0, goes forever to the right towards positive infinity. And same thing for our range. We start at y equals 0 and we go up very slowly, but up forever to positive infinity. So if we've got a couple shifts in here, x plus 1, square root of that, and then minus 4, we end up with these 3 points here. So we've got the same 3 main points, but now this is down at negative 1, negative 4, and 0, negative 3, and 3, negative 2. So we notice that our original parent function here, it has now shifted that to the left one, down 4. So I got to change the range here. That should be 4. So now our domain shifted to the left towards negative 1. So our domain starts at negative 1, still goes to positive infinity. And our range, since it shifted down 4, goes from negative 4 up to positive infinity. And we can see from our equation that there is a correlation there. The plus 1 on the inside is kind of opposite of what we see in our domain with negative 1. And then the minus 4 on the outside is the same as what we get with our range here. So we're going to be looking at that relationship here as we go to graph or write the equation. So recall from transformations that any change that's inside, usually it's inside parentheses. We don't have parentheses, but we say like inside or under the square root function or the root with x. That is a horizontal transformation, and it's also opposite. So like that last example, plus 1, if that was the positive direction, that would be to the right one, but it shifted left 1. So we're going the opposite direction there. And then anything on the outside, so in this case, out in front of our square root function or at the end here that's not underneath, that's going to be a vertical transformation. So minus 4 means we go down 4. So why don't you pause, try some of these. We're going to do a lot of examples and just let you try it yourself and then check the answer. So this first one is down 4 because there's minus 4 on the outside, so we just shift down 4. And to get those next 2 points, I just go, as long as it's still going the same direction, I go to the right one and up 1, and I go back to my vertex here, and I go right 4 up 2. Okay, so that's that relationship. I'm going right 1 and up 1, right 4, up 2. Okay, right 1, up 1, I come back to my vertex, right 4, up 2. This one here, give that one a try, and we get left 3. So we've shifted the whole thing left 3 because it's plus 3 on the inside and it's opposite. And then our last one, minus 2 on the inside is opposite, so we go to the right 2, and plus 1 on the outside means we go up 1. Notice how all of these are going up and to the right. So now we want to write the equation for these 3. So pause and give those a try. This one is going left 4 and up 3. So we have to put left 4 on the inside, so that would be x plus 4, square root of that, and then plus 3 on the outside because we're going up 3. And then you can see the descriptions for these 2 examples as well. So now our last thing that we're going to look at is reflections. So we just did shifts, right, left, up, and down. We're also going to look at reflections in this video where we're flipping our graph. And so that is when we multiply by a negative. We're not going to multiply by any integers or fractions here. That would be the stretches and shrinks. We're just going to multiply by negatives. So if we multiply on the inside, that's still a horizontal transformation. On the outside, it's a vertical transformation. So what we get is horizontal reflection. We, from the vertex, reflect our graph horizontally. So instead of to the right, now we're going to the left. So we're still going, over 1 and up 1. Now it's just to the left, and over 4 and up 2. Since this negative is on the outside and that's vertical, then our graph is now going to point down, but still to the right. And so now it's right 1, down 1, right 4, down 2. And then if we've got a negative in both, then it's going to be going down and to the left. Okay? So same thing. Try a few examples of graphing. Okay. So here we've got vertical reflection because it's on the outside and up 4. So in this case, I always put the vertex where it's supposed to be, and then I do my other transformations. So I would shift it up 4, draw that point there. I see it's flipped down. So instead of going up and to the right, I'm going down and to the right. And then I put those points there, draw my graph. Okay, and then you can see what these 2 examples look like. And then last one, try to write the equations for these graphs. Okay, so we see this first one, it's going to the left, so that's horizontal reflection, and it's being shifted to the left too. So we multiply x by a negative on the inside, and then we do plus 2 right there. Okay, notice how I don't have parentheses around the x plus 2 and then the negative. It's just the x there is negative.